You are listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network.
El vino Knuckles Schwarzenegger.
Va a pegarle Ronaldinho Gaucho. Ya lo hace. Pierna derecha, directo al arco. ¡Golazo! 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 ¡Golazo!
This is Soccer Today, live on SPN Radio, your new live show about the beautiful game in all its glory, with Duane, Rollins and Kevin Laramee. MLS, EPL, La Liga, Champions League, all is fair game. Powered by the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit us at sportspodcastingnetwork.com.
And good day, good night, and welcome to Soccer Today. It's game day for the U.S. men's national team tonight. World Cup qualifier at Avaya Stadium versus Honduras. A U.S. men's national team in a transition mode due to injury and the new coach. New players involved in the fold, especially in the midfield and in the back line. Those are the big questions heading into tonight. What lineup? How will Bruce Arena deal with the Lichaja and Yedlin injury in the back line? Will we see a Sebastian Leggett? Will we see Jordan Morris? That's the question. Jordan Morris wasn't at training yesterday. And according to Jeff Carlisle of ESPN, he would be even surprised if Jordan Morris is even in the 18 tonight. So a lot of questions need to be answered. Honduras as well. Honduras not at their heyday, you could say, but always in a position to be a good opposition. You do have a team that does not necessarily travel well in Honduras. I remember watching them against Canada in Canada, not necessarily being impressed or worried. The constant pressure, that kind of feeling of panic is just right around the corner for your defense when you're playing against a team like Honduras, especially in Honduras. Well, you don't have that when they travel as much. So the intangibles will be on the U.S. favor. But when you're looking at Honduras as a team, it does have some potential, but we'll focus more on the U.S.'s side right now because of, well, Bruce Arena, and unfortunately, due to injuries and players that are not getting their playing time. The example of Brad Guzan not getting the playing time with Middlesbrough in the Premier League. That's probably why Tim Howard is going to start tonight. Then you go to the back line, Yedlin injured a few weeks ago with Newcastle. It's a big blow. Yeah, you'll probably have Zusi or Jeff Cameron at right back. That's the big question. Maybe Zusi, but that's more of a Jurgen Klinsmann move. So maybe we will see Jeff Cameron there. It's depending. There's a few probable lineup available out there. If you go on Fox Sports, ESPN have their own, and they differ here and there. But still is the same questions remain is how will Tim Howard marshal this makeshift backline? Will he be able to stop the pressure coming from the right side? Because that probably will be one of the tactics Honduras will want to take is defend for their life, hope for that one opportunity, especially in the flanks, and trying to use it to make that breakthrough and get the ball in the box, and then who knows what can happen. We'll see if Honduras uses the tactic against the U.S. tonight. For the U.S., though, still, you do have a lot of questions. You do have the Christian Pulisic hype right now. He started in the Champions League for Borussia Dortmund, playing well with Dortmund, almost a day in, day out starter for Borussia Dortmund. The 18-year-old will have a lot of things to say tonight on the pitch. It's not that it rests on his shoulders, but it's the closest thing without being the entire hope of a country on his shoulder. It's not all about tonight. There is a tomorrow, whatever happens tonight for the U.S. in the hexagonal, a hex. But so far, with 0 points and in the bottom, you need a turnaround quickly, only to give the perception to everybody else that, hey, we're going to make it. We only got 2 spots to climb, worst case scenario, and best 3, and we're in. So for the U.S., it's not time to press the panic button. There were changes made. Jurgen Klinsmann was let's go. Bruce Arena tonight will make his World Cup qualifying debut since taking over for Jurgen Klinsmann. He had a few months to get prepared mentally, tactically, and with the camp over last week, able to prepare the team in a way he sees fit. It is unfortunate, though, the injuries, and it's unfortunate the Jordan Morris situation. Jordan Morris might have been that spark that they needed. We'll see. It's hard to correlate the play in Major League Soccer to the World Cup qualifying level. And yeah, this is still CONCACAF. It's not FIFA yet, but you still have a different type of play. You have what we call the unknowns, right? The famous unknown of a player. If a player is put in a situation where he's not used to, how will we react? And can you take the chance to not be able to predict that reaction when you put a player into a situation? Or do you rather go with what you know? Put a players in a situation that you have seen them in before, and their reactions, their instinct under pressure, on their hostile environment. This won't be a hostile environment tonight, no. But you always think when you play internationally of the upcoming few days, upcoming few games. It's always more than just tonight, especially in a qualifying process like this. You do think of what the players did before, what the last few weeks, the travel and all those things. That's why I'm wondering why Jordan Morris is not necessarily. We'll see if he's in the 18, does play a role in the game, fine. If he's outside of the 18, the results will depend if that was a good decision or not. And maybe it's putting too much stock in Jordan Morris right now at this time, maybe. But is Christian Pulisic ready for him to have all that hype on him? If you share that hype, that energy, enthusiasm, it's not going to lie to each other. When you have a player like this that are showing tremendous potential and that are showing tremendous enthusiasm, happiness, they're smiling all the time. They bring energy. Like, this is not to be discounted. This is very important. And it sparks something. And sometimes it's that one key piece that you're missing. Boom, that player comes in so happy, makes everybody else a little happier, cracks the right joke at the right time, makes everything a little looser in a pressure-filled tense situation. That's sometimes what you need. And not saying that would be the case, but if you have more, the merrier. So that is interesting tonight. U.S. men's national team facing Honduras in the hex. Costa Rica, Mexico tonight. Estadio Azteca. Another great game in the hex this time, this round, this international break. For Juan Carlos Osorio, who is the manager of Mexico, the controversial manager of Mexico, he was almost fired maybe 28 times in the last few years. That's how it is, though, when you're manager of Mexico of El Tri, is you do have that pressure that if you don't perform and one bad result, you're always one bad result away of being dismissed when you're coaching L3. And for Juan Carlos Osorio, he sees this game against Costa Rica and Mexico to be able to make a statement. Costa Rica is a team over the last few years, El Ticos, that have raised their game, raised the level, raised the perception that people have of them, raised their level internationally. We saw that in the last World Cup where they can perform, and we saw great games against the United States, that 4-0 trashing a few months ago. Costa Rica is for real, and Mexico is finding themselves with an opportunity tonight to stamp themselves once again as best in the region, in CONCACAF. If they do pull out a statement performance at Estadio Azteca versus Costa Rica. Who's going to take Costa Rica lightly? Who's not going to think about Costa Rica now as a lock-in, always going to the World Cup and can be dangerous at the World Cup type of selection? That's the type of game tonight. We'll see. Are they there yet? Are Costa Rica at that level where facing Mexico at home in a competitive World Cup qualifying game and come out with a win? It's a big task. Not a lot of team goes to Azteca club-wise or internationally and get a result out of it. There's always that wall. Comes at around the 80th minute, 85th minute, or 75, depending on the game situation. But there's a wall that hits you just before the crowd turns on their team. There's always seems to be that goal, that moment. And then it's either the equalizer or the go-ahead goal, and the stadium loses their mind. Then it's all downhill from there if you're the visitors. You have that pressure building up. You have 2-3 guys dangerous, roaming freely in the box, pushing, tugging, no calls. You receive bags, but you know what? In it from the stands, that's a myth. But I saw with my own eyes. You receive coins, laser pointers. You receive beer cans, cups of beer being thrown. There's always a smell of beer mixed with some, you know what happens when you drink too much beer too quickly? And I don't want to say this because if you're having breakfast, cheers. But this is, that smell. That dingy corner of an alley smell. Yeah. There's that smell at Azteca. And it whiffles around, and around the 80th minute, it hits the pitch too when you receive the showers of beer at the same time. And then it becomes another game. In Mexico or Club America, or depending on the situation, the home team at Azteca always takes advantage of that situation, and then it can get ugly real quickly. So for Costa Rica tonight versus Mexico, if they can get a 1 or 2 goal early to take the crowd out of it, the crowd's going to come back into it later on, and they will become very dangerous. But if you set yourself up for that moment, if you set yourself up for that wall that's going to hit you at Azteca at around the 80th something minute, but you have a 2-goal lead, you might be able to hold on. Maybe not for the full 3 points, but at least you'll get that result. And the way it's going right now, Costa Rica dominating, playing in a very dominant fashion with players, misfits. Some players are having way more success at the international level with Costa Rica than they ever did with their club level on day in and day out situation. But when they go to Costa Rica, they put on that jersey and they have that belief that together, those players, we're talking about the Venegas, the Mataritas, when they have that belief together, they can do great things. And that's what it's all about. So if you can watch both, use your DVR, U.S. men's national team, Honduras tonight, and Costa Rica at Estadio Azteca versus El Tri. Those 2 games will be fascinating. Love the CONCACAF's regions, like the chaotic aspect of it. The chaotic aspect of having almost 100,000, it won't be because there's renovations that stick over the last few years, and some part of the stands are being renovated, and it's desperately needed. I'm gonna have to tell you, if you just ask some colleagues, it's kind of hard to actually get internet line there if you're not with Telmex. If you're not with Televisa, you're not going to get anything done at that place. But it is desperately needed, the renovations going on. So we're not going to have 100,000 people screaming and yelling at the Ticos. No, but still, it's always a great time when you're going to Azteca. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about a lot of different news in Major League Soccer.
You are listening to Soccer Today, live on SPN Radio. Visit sportspodcastingnetwork.com for more.
And we're back. You can follow me on Twitter at Kev Laramee, and you can follow the show at Soccer Today SPN. This is kind of a bits and bytes, yes and no segment. We'll start with a couple, one good news and one bad news. And let's start with the bad news. If you are a Atlanta United fan, you're holding your breath right now. Joseph Martinez taken off with an injury during World Cup qualifying. Venezuelan, he plays for Venezuela. That's easier for me to say. He is a Venezuelan international. There you go. And he was subbed off yesterday in the 59th minute substitution where he hit the ball. And you can tell as soon as he hit the ball on the shot attempt, he's holding his leg. It might have pulled something, might have hit the ball not the best way. Maybe something got pulled, a muscle. Hopefully it's a muscle. But apparently the Venezuela coach, Rafael Dudamel, said after the game that he does not think Martinez will travel to Chile for Venezuela's next match and that his injury can take 10 days to recover. Atlanta's next game is Friday, March 31st at Seattle versus the reigning and defending MLS Cup champions, the Seattle Sounders. So for Joseph Martinez, you're looking at maybe 10 days that will be cutting it quite closely and making him miss the big game versus the champions. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, but everybody's always afraid. Everybody always keeps in the back of their mind when they're watching international play during the international break, World Cup qualifiers. Come on, please, no injury. Let my player come back to my club unscathed, please. Another quite new, something we have been talking about a few times here on Soccer Today, Duane and I, the El Clasico in Miami's. You can read this on the Philly Voice, an article by Kevin Kincaid, and it's quite interesting because he mentioned Miami's El Clasico, a blatant cash grab and everything that's wrong with American soccer. Sometimes people do put on events to please a crowd. You put on an event and you do it for the quote-unquote right reason. We all know the only reason Real Madrid and Barcelona are playing against each other in Miami is to milk every penny possible out of the soccer crowd. It's a non-soccer event basically made for soccer fans to part ways with their hard-earned money. And that's a shame. I have to agree with Kevin Kincaid here. It's an exhibition game. It's not worth anything. It's going to take place this July in Miami. It's like a nosebleed is $540 US, and that is for nosebleed. On the secondary market, it's double that. And to have a decent seat, it's a few thousand, 1,500 and more. You kind of feel dirty after getting one of those tickets, right? It's don't go. Just don't go. Boycott that game. It's not worth it. It's not what it's all about. This game is not made. It's not meant to be shown for that price when it's not worth anything. It's not what the game is about. This blatant cash grab, to use Kevin Kincaid's words, is, for me, it's tragedy. It's nothing short of a tragedy. It reminds me of a lot of things in different sphere of this world that I like. When you have a community, when you have a niche, when you have a group of people that gather towards the same thing, fans of a group, fan of a show, fan of a music artist, fan of a painter, fan of comic book, fan of whatever, and you put on an event as an organizer with your main goal to make money, you're gonna make autograph signing at Comic-Con $500 a pop so you can milk the most amount of money of that little 35-year-old that really wants to meet the Pink Ranger. I think it's a travesty. It's $25. Go sign the autograph. Why would you charge a? It's the same damn thing here. It's that we're not part of that community. We've seen there's a movement. We see there's something. We see there's a way to make money off of here. All right. So how about we take two biggest teams' names? We'll lay down a carpet of gold for them to come here, play an exhibition game, and we're going to make millions off of the back of fans of this sport. This is disgusting. Don't go, please. Miami's El Clasico. Let's boycott that game. Let's boycott. Miami's El Boycotto. El Boycotto. Let's boycott that game. It's nothing short of a tragedy. Continues to give ammunition for people who hate this game to hate it even more. It's like if the Patriots were going to play, I don't know, another big team, let's say the Dallas Cowboys in an exhibition match in Madrid and charge $1,000 a ticket. Will people call it as a cash grab? Yeah, they would. The same damn thing here. Why does it always have to happen? Why do people go? I guess that's why it continues happening, right? Because people continues to go. Don't go. Boycott that game. Boycott that El Clasico. Let's move on because my doctor said it's not good for me to get that angry. I know the doctor didn't really tell me that, but you have to keep the stress level down in your life if you want to be happy. Speaking of being happy, former Major League Soccer goalkeeper, former Orlando goalkeeper, and Houston goalkeeper of fame, Mr. Hashtag Mr. Tally Hall, sworn in as Orlando Police Department officer. Congratulations, Tally. Good luck in your future endeavor, in your new career. A goalkeeper that was always fun to chat with and always a class act in Major League Soccer. This time around, he will protect and serve his fellow brethren of Orlando. So, Tally, good luck in your new career. The NASL aims to take drama out of the boardroom and onto the pitch this season. We'll see what is going to happen on this side. Maybe 3 new teams will be announced by the NASL until April. The Deltas announced yesterday that you can watch all their match on NASL.com, and it'll be interesting to see how Division 2, how the NASL continues to grow if possible, to exist hopefully, and to have a playing opportunity for players. That's all we really want from soccer teams, is to make more players. The more players we make, the better shot Canada has as playing internationally at the highest level. Because, yeah, we've talked about the Hex earlier on today, talked about the States. I would have loved to talk about my country being in here, but it wasn't meant to be this time again. And NASL, USL, the future Canadian Premier League, all those ventures, all those adventures are all potential benefits. Just a few players away from qualifying for the Hex for Canada. And those few players are probably going to come from those sides and eventually make it to MLS or other leagues around the world. But there's a potential that if you have more playing opportunities for Canadian players, that one of them comes out of those playing opportunity. So that is always something to hope for. So hopefully we do have a few Canadian great players coming out of the NASL, of the USL, of the MLS partnership with the Generation Adidas Canada. Maybe down the line it's going to help. Those situations will help a lot to see maybe Canada at the Hex one day. One day we'll get there. It's international break. So this Sunday, we're taking a break for the MLS postgame show. I'll be back next week at 1 a.m. on Sunday to talk about Major League Soccer, the game of the weekends, and who's winning, who's losing, the trends, the controversies, your phone calls, all that. Next Sunday on the MLS postgame show, April 2nd at 1 a.m. Eastern. You can follow the show on Twitter at Soccer Today SPN, and always find the on-demand version of this show on the Sports Podcast Network, available easily on iTunes, Stitcher, Feedburner, Podbay Player, everywhere you get your podcast. Tune in Radio, iHeartRadio next week, and you can just find all our shows under the Sports Podcasting Network feed. You're on your laptop, you're on your tablet, and you would like to just go to the website, easily available player. You can just press play and listen directly off the website. The archives are on the website as well. The past year and a half of shows of every single episode of every single show we did over the last 2 years basically is available at sportspodcastingnetwork.com. We will be back Monday, 10 a.m. with the latest edition of Soccer Today, talking about the World Cup qualifiers, talking about the weekend, and we will be talking about next week a little bit more of the Bundesliga. We talked about it before the break. They had their winter break, and things are not looking as good now for RB Leipzig as they were earlier last year. Well, late last year, earlier this season. So we will be giving an update on the Bundesliga next week. Monday, 10 a.m. And until then, I am Kevin Laramee, and have a great soccer. You were listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit us, sportspodcastingnetwork.com.